Hello, everybody.
Bernard Wallace, your appearance, please, Mr. Lumberg.
Yes, Your Honor, may it please the court, for the record, Eugene Lumberg on behalf of Mr. Wallace. Mr. Wallace is present. He is in custody. He has provided the address and phone number. He's before the court on a show cause for failure to pay fines and costs in a 2019 case of no proof of insurance and a second, I believe, civil infraction ticket. I've explained to him his rights. He is requesting, if available, court-appointed attorney going forward. He has no objection to proceeding via Zoom, and we would ask that a bench warrant be recalled.
Thank you very much. Zoom consent is noted, Mr. Wallace. The court will set aside the bench warrant, or should say warrants. So the case on 19 RO 08633, as well as 19 RO 09753. Both of those warrants are recalled. Zoom consent noted, and we will reset the show causes. Now the court must speak to bond in this matter. Mr. Wallace, that's not intended to prejudge or punish you, but is required in order to ensure your reappearance to just finish these matters out. So this is a fairly simple circumstance involving money, okay? And these matters have been going on for plus or minus 5 years. So, Mr. Lumberg, what can you tell the court related to these circumstances?
Your Honor, Mr. Wallace is 61 years of age. He is disabled. He is on Social Security disability, which of course is not a great sum of money. It's my understanding that he's before the court on the show cause because he owes $459 on these matters. He tells me that he was incarcerated beginning approximately 2019 to 2022. Does the court have a copy of his criminal record?
I'm sorry, was that a question?
Yes. Does the court have a copy of his criminal record?
It does not. All I have is his traffic lien for whatever reason that is. So it may well be that Mr. Wallace did serve some form of incarceration. If he has any funding today, the court would certainly consider 10% of 459.
Unfortunately, Your Honor, he is not in a position to tender any money today. Is that correct, Mr. Wallace?
Yes, sir.
He tells me that he would be able to start paying at the first of the month, which of course is 2 weeks from now. I assume because he probably gets the Social Security check roughly about that time. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I would ask, Your Honor, that he be released on a personal bond. And in his traffic record, does he show any drunk drivings?
Affirmative.
And when does he show that?
4.
How many?
4.
Does he show one?
There is a controlled substance crime from 2015 out of the 6th Circuit. There's 5, 257, 625 convictions.
He tells me that he served 2 or 3 years in prison for. He told me a first offense drunk driving. I would suspect it may have been a third offense.
I think it was his second, third. But in any event, at this time, the court is going to indicate as follows. The court is setting a $5,000 personal bond on both files. So that's going to be a total of 10 personal. The court will indicate defendant will pay $100 per month commencing September 9th. And every second Monday of each month thereafter until paid in full. Which means, Mr. Wallace, you can get this thing sewn up by Christmas. However, if you miss any payments, you could end up owing the court $5,000 forthwith. You'll have another bench warrant and lien, and we'll be doing this all over again.
So
Okay,
Your Honor, what each payment is how much?
100, just
So
100.
that's $200 a month.
Negative, just 100, just 100 a
Oh.
month until paid in full. So it's 100 a month toward the total, which is 459.
No
And
problem.
Mr. Wallace, do you think you could make that payment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The
Mr.
judge is
Wallace,
letting
I'm
you
sorry,
out
go
on,
ahead, Mr. Lundberg.
well, I was just gonna say, the judge is letting you out on a personal bond. So
Okay.
assuming there's no wants anyplace else, you're gonna be able to leave. But make
Okay.
sure you make the payment, otherwise you're gonna be back in jail.
Okay.
And Mr. Wallace, just a safety tip to think about in the future. And that is that when you are speaking to either a court or an attorney who's doing their best for you, just suggesting to them you have one drunk driving when you actually have 5 is not always going to meet with amenable ears. Okay, so just please always do your best to report your information accurately to your lawyer. There's 2 people you never want to lie to, your lawyer and your doctor. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good luck to you.
Good luck, Mr. Wallace.
Officer, can we, oh, I'm sorry, that's a Berkeley matter. So we're all set for right now. And
Okay, so
when Ms. Shutterly decides to come around, we'll get to her.
good luck.
Hi, Jean.
So that first hearing was at 9:40 in the morning. This hearing was at 2 p.m. this afternoon.
Berkeley E03215. It is people of the city of Berkeley versus Reginald Bernard Wallace. Your appearance, please, Mr. Mitchell.
Ready, Your Honor. Michael G. Mitchell on behalf of Mr. Wallace, who is present via Zoom, and we consent to same. Mr. Wallace, please state your name for the record.
Reginald Bernard Wallace.
Your Honor, I'd waive any formal reading, stand my client mute, ask that a not guilty plea be entered on his behalf.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Wallace, we went through this drill this morning. You're an intelligent man. You probably remember.
Yes,
Keep
yes.
an eye on your mailbox. You're going to get a pretrial notice. It'll direct you when and how to appear for that pretrial. And you're going to be hearing from a new lawyer to try to help you through this thing. The court is not thrilled to pieces that you still have an obligation to this court. And here we are with another misdemeanor. But you're presumed innocent. So the court's going to hear your very able counsel, Mr. Mitchell, as to bond. Mr. Mitchell.
Your Honor, my client is 61 years old. He tells me he's been on an SSI disability as of July 1st due to an injury. Your Honor, I don't think that he's a flight risk or a danger to the community. I don't believe that he's got a history of failing to appear. I would ask the court to consider a personal bond.
Okay. It had been discussed earlier today that Mr. Wallace had a fairly recent incarceration within the last 3-4 years. Wasn't that right, Mr. Wallace?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At this time, the court's going to set a $7,500 personal bond. What that's going to mean, Mr. Wallace, is if you blow another court date, it's going to be $7,500. It's going to be in liens. It's going to be a mess. Okay. You could be anywhere. You could be going to a family reunion. Somebody runs a plate, the next thing you know, you're locked up, God knows where, for God knows how long. So please, please, please come back to court. You will appear as directed for all your future dates. You'll abide any valid order or judgment entered in this case. Don't leave the state of Michigan without permission of the court. Don't commit any crimes on release status, which includes driving, period. No driving. Please notify the court in writing of any change of address, telephone, or email. There will be no supervision at this time. No driving without a valid Michigan operator's license, registration plate, and insurance. That completes this arraignment. Do you have anything further, Mr. Mitchell?
Nothing, thank you. Good
Thank
luck,
you, Mr. Wallace. You can relinquish that device back to the bailiff. We appreciate you. Ms. Harris, thank you for your patience. We had some custody matters come in that we needed to address immediately. I'm going to place you into that breakout room with your attorney, Mr. Manoogian.
Okay, thank you.
Are we both trying to do something?
I'm not touching that.
Okay.
I swear to God.
All right, that's weird. All right, there we go.
We do consent to holding the hearing over Zoom.
Good morning again, Ms. Harris. Thank you, Mr. Manoogian. Ms. Harris, the court is entering a not guilty, repeat, not guilty plea on your behalf. Court-appointed counsel is noted and approved for the future. That means you'll stay with Mr. Manoogian. That is good news for you. You will be receiving a pretrial notice to your Cornell address that will direct you when and how to appear for your next court date as well. You will be hearing from Mr. Manoogian. He will be in contact so you can team up and act in your best interest. The court must now set bond in this manner. That's not intended to prejudge or punish you, but it is required in order to ensure your reappearance to court and afford any necessary protection for the public. In that regard, the court will hear from your attorney, Mr. Manoogian.
Your Honor, Ms. Harris is 22 years old. She has no criminal history of any kind. She works full-time as a server at Los Galanes, which is a great Mexican restaurant in Southwest Detroit. She lives with her aunt, who is present with her right now on Zoom. I would just ask that a personal bond be set.
Thank you. This case may or may not be part and parcel of another matter which was before the court this week. Please stay with us for a moment. All right, that's what the court needs to know. Mr. Manoogian, the indication here is, and obviously, Ms. Harris, you're advised not to confirm or deny any of this. Intoxicated females fighting in front of O'Toole's, 0.18 blood alcohol content booked. So, Ms. Harris, at this time, you are not to say anything regarding that. You will be working on that with Mr. Manoogian. But that may or may not be an hour that you would replay in the exact same fashion going forward. You will appear as directed for all your future dates. You'll abide any valid order or judgment entered in this case. You're not to leave the state of Michigan without permission of the court. Please don't commit any crimes while you're on release status. Please do notify the court in writing of any change of address, telephone, or email. Do not use alcohol, marijuana, or any other controlled substance. You may be, not at this time, but you may be subject to random testing on further order of the court. And no driving without a valid Michigan operator's license, registration plate, and insurance. And she does appear to be not licensed at this time. And with that, please do not enter bars, clubs, liquor stores, or any business premises in Royal Oak or Berkeley, except for work or medical purposes. The bond amount will be $2,500 personal. What that means, Ms. Harris, is you do not need to post that money with the court as a bond to keep your freedom. But if you elect to ignore the reasonable advice of your esteemed counsel, if you stray off the path, if you miss a court date, you could owe the court $2,500 cash money and a bench warrant could issue for your arrest. I don't believe any of us three want that, correct? Ms. Harris?
Correct. Yes,
Thank you.
correct.
Anything further on this one, Mr. Manugie?
No, Your Honor.
All right, that completes your arraignment, Ms. Harris. Please stay on the path. This is manageable. Don't complicate it.
Okay, yes, you're right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.